Can't accept the loss, I'm hard-headed. There's a little bit of madness to my method. Many falling off that fine line that I'm treading. I risk anything to be great, and I'm not letting nobody rob me of my victory. Number one, that's what I'm meant to be. When by any means, only thing that makes sense to me, I can make nice or make history. I got that dog in me, yeah, turn me up. Big energy, got the crowd going nuts. I got that dog in me, yeah. I take on anyone, I don't need a one-on-one. I got that dog in me, yeah. I'm talking all bite, no bark. I could rip your squad apart. I got that dog in me, so what's up? Yeah, so what's up?
And good chilly evening here in Bluffton, South Carolina. How you doing today, Seth?
It is chilly, man. It was like 75 degrees yesterday. What happened?
I don't know, but your mic just cut out.
Oh, shoot.
Let me do this. Try that now.
How about now?
Oh, yeah, you definitely in there now.
Right.
Welcome to the show, people. We're a little bit late right now. We're going to be talking about some college football playoffs reactions. Your team made it. Mine did not. We'll be also talking a little bit about Juan Soto's contract and also have a little six-pack for you, and we'll be predicting tonight's game between the Rams and San Francisco 49ers. We'll also be touching up on the Eagles and Steelers and Bills and Lions. So no easy ones this week.
No, some great games.
Yeah. No, this has been loaded.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, there's just been great games every week in NFL. You know, college, there'll be a few here and there, but NFL, it's like 4 or 5 every single week. It's been fun.
Yeah. So, we're going to go ahead and dive into it, folks. College football playoffs. The seeding has come out to me, really and truthfully, and 78% of the United States has agreed that the seeding in this one is actually pretty good. Have you any problems with the way everyone went down, or
not really? I mean, the only, I guess kind of surprise was Clemson beating SMU, and then SMU, getting kept in there, which I think every announcer was saying they deserve to be in there. So you can kind of see the writing on the wall. If SMU would have continued to get blown out in that game and not come back and made it close, then I could see leaving them out, bringing Bama in. But when they came back and almost had a chance to win it, that just kind of decided it right there.
Yeah, and me personally, some people have asked me, are you a little salty about it? I was like, no, we lost 3 games. Why would I be salty about the fact that, I mean, that'd be like, a team from this NFC South, making it into the playoffs, which it's going to happen. One team has to go, but you look at the records of everyone else around it. I mean, there's like 6 or 7 teams that's going to have a better record than what either Tampa Bay or Atlanta or even really the NFC West pulls out. So, but it is what it is.
I mean, I can see it from a Bama perspective. If SMU had Alabama's schedule, what would their record be? That kind of argument. But they don't. They're in the ACC and they can only play the games in front of them. So 1 loss, that carries a lot of weight compared to 3 losses. I'm sorry, 2 losses counting the title game. But they kept saying, they didn't want to punish teams for losing the title game, because they made it that far to play an extra game. So I think they made the right decision. I mean, there's always going to be a little controversy, but this year it feels like there wasn't a whole lot of pushback.
The only thing that I was kind of a little puzzled by, and, people up in the Midwest might not like what I'm about to say, but it felt like they really tried to put the Big Ten on a pedestal as far as this goes, because you got 4 teams, Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, which is more of a West Coast team, and also I'm missing Penn State. Yeah, thank you. That made it into this, and it, usually that's what we always heard before they even did this. When it was just 4 teams, they would always try to get 3 possible, really just 3 teams into the playoffs. What's your ideas on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it is that anti-SEC bias, just everybody burned out from the SEC always dominating. And a lot of those people on that panel seem to have Big Ten ties. If you look at it, there's just a lot of representatives from those schools on there. But I don't really have a big problem with it. I mean, Indiana, they really
earned it.
They didn't play anybody. They didn't really beat anybody, but they only have 1 loss. So it's tough to argue, I guess. This is just one of those years we're gonna have to suck it up as SEC fans.
It's all good.
I mean, yeah, Bama, Ole Miss, they had their chance.
Yeah.
So if you don't lose to Oklahoma and Ole Miss, if you don't lose to Florida, two teams that you're clearly better than, then you're in the playoffs.
So we're going to bounce through this a little bit. First matchup would be Texas versus Clemson, and of course, Clemson will get the home field advantage because they won the conference championship on a 56-yard field goal. Which before that, the kicker missed, I think, 2 in a row. So it was like wide left.
Yeah,
but they were able to hang tough. Kubnik, he's been doing a lot better than he did last year, but the SMU I thought was actually going to just curb stomp them, not necessarily Bama get in, but one of the other teams like a Miami, which, they lost 2 games down the barrel, which really hurt them, or South Carolina or Ole Miss. It didn't really matter. I thought there was going to be another team that came in if SMU lost, which they did, but it is what it is.
Oh, I mean, we saw the beginning of that game, and it was 21-0 or something from the get-go. I was thinking, okay, Bama or Miami's getting in because they're about to get humiliated, and they just turned it around and played really tough. The quarterback finally got his crap together, and they finally started slowing Clemson down a little bit. But man, they had all the momentum, and then one of the dumbest things I've seen is just kick it out of bounds instead of deep kicking, and give them the ball at what they get, the 45.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're not likely to get a good return like that, but you kick it out of bounds, you're guaranteed not to get a good return like that. So, one play and then they're kicking the field goal.
Done.
I think that'll be a decent game though, Clemson, Texas.
I think it can be. We did a little bit of this on the other show this past Tuesday, and not me and you, but the other show I'm on, and we were talking a little bit about our predictions with the games and stuff like that. Now, I picked Texas, but that to me they just are an overwhelming favorite in this one. I know that the over under or the spread says different a little bit, but outside of TJ Parker, I don't really see a whole lot of pressure going to get put on Ewers or that offense. And I mean, like you said, it's a running back committee, even though there's basically, I would say, the college version of the triplets on Clemson's team. Yeah.
I mean, I do think Texas will win, but Clemson's kind of playing with house money. They weren't even supposed to be here, so they're going to be playing with nothing to lose. And we all know Dabo has God on his side. It's part of God's plan for them to be here. So, yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a interesting matchup. I don't think it'll be a blowout personally, but I guess we don't have time to go through all of them. But yeah, let's move on to what is it? Tennessee, Ohio State, the next one.
Well, we could talk about them.
Well, just briefly.
Yeah, go ahead. On it. I mean, of course, I know you're happy about this, or you're not really happy about this, but found out an interesting thing for you. Did you know that out of all the ticket sales and everything for each bowl game, they're being considered bowl games with these home games, that 40% of the tickets goes to each team. So that's 80%. And then 20% goes to media. So it's not going to be like a total red out whenever your team goes to see the shoe. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I do like that. I just found that out this week, but I do like that philosophy, treating it like a bowl game. I think this is a very sexy matchup as far as, two historic programs. I don't think Tennessee is one of the, top, elite teams this year, but they did get in. The win over Alabama really was the only big time win they had all year. Ohio State, on the other hand, they're coming into this just that Michigan loss. Will it be a hangover for them, or are they going to be out for blood? That's what I'm interested to see. Ohio State has so many of these transfer guys that are getting ready to jump the NFL. It's like, will they have, 1 foot already out the door, or are they going to be totally all in? If they're all in, Ohio State will handle business and take care of Tennessee. I think the spread's 7.5. That's probably about right to me.
I actually picked Tennessee in this game.
Did you? Wow. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see it.
I just think that Sampson is going to be have the game of his life. And so because he's just, for the most part, I mean, Nico's been doing his own thing too, but Sampson's been the offense that I can think. And the fact that y'all actually have a defense this year that is actually surpassing your offense. I mean, it's rare to say that about a Tennessee team, but that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a solid defense. I do think people expected a little more of Nico. People thought he was going to be Peyton Manning 2.0 or something coming out of the gate. And he has been okay, but nothing special. So he needs to have his best game for them to have a chance in this one.
Yeah. I agree. And so you're leaning Ohio State. So am I correct?
Yeah. I think it'll be about a touchdown game.
Okay. So next game up, we're just going to go ahead and talk about the Indiana Bowl because you got Notre Dame, who is in South Bend, Indiana, and you got Indiana Hoosiers themselves, who were more of a pleasant surprise this season. Whenever you look at this might be one that you kind of take a little bit of a nap in between. It's going to be a really defensive game, is the best way to put it. Both of these teams are really good. Number one against the rush is Indiana. They only allow up to 70 yards per game. And Notre Dame has one of the better rush offenses in the game. Riley Leonard, love him. But at the same time, he's not the best pocket passing quarterback in the nation. That guy belongs in Syracuse right now, but you look at what these teams have, and basically strong defenses. Both are ranked in the top 5 as far as points against. Curtis Rourke, great job coming from Ohio. I actually picked, if I remember correctly, I did pick Notre Dame. I just think Notre Dame's going to win this game because the one game, like you talked about with Ohio State, Indiana got slaughtered and they only had 158 total yards rushing and passing. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think Notre Dame is just too strong. When Indiana goes up against a team that has elite talent, we saw what happened. I mean, it's been a great story for them. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
No problem.
But I think the Cinderella story kind of ends quickly in this first round. I mean, Riley has been really good. Obviously, Jeremiah Love at running back has been a stud. Notre Dame's not going to score a ton of points, but like you said, I think it'll be a defensive struggle, and Notre Dame's defense is a little bit better. I mean, Notre Dame has been playing great since that one disaster, Northern Illinois.
Yeah. So, I mean, they got their shit together is basically the best way to put it.
Yeah, it was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
To say the least.
And it was the best time to actually have one. You will always want to have one of those early in the season.
That's right.
Last, I guess you would say wild card game would be the SMU Mustangs. Glad to see them. They finally have completely recovered from the death penalty of the 1980s.
It was cool seeing Eric Dickerson on the sideline the other night.
Yes,
him and Craig James.
Oh, dude. It's amazing when you get to see the old school alumni, all the War Dogs back out there. And they will be playing a team, I wouldn't say it's similar, but the offense is pretty similar. The Penn State Nittany Lions. I'm looking forward to actually hearing your welcome it's been a while since I last seen a game that is in Penn State. They've been pretty not so relevant last few years. They've been doing all right, but they've always been kind of overshadowed with Ohio State and Michigan, of course, being the two dominant schools. And they've been kind of like the little brother program. I know Penn State fans love hearing that, but it's true. But
when you lose every game to the elite teams, and that kind of happens.
Yeah. So I picked Penn State. They got a really good defense, and Alara has definitely been. He's better than he was last year.
Oh yeah.
So I think he can actually carry the team. It's still a running game, but I went with Penn State on this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll just be too physical for SMU. I mean, I did like their toughness, how they came back against Clemson, but they are a little light on the defensive line. And I think Penn State's just going to pound the ball on them. I really like Penn State's running backs. The other night against, why am I drawing a blank? The other night against Oregon, they fell behind, but those running backs, man, they started stepping up and they were just pounding the ball on Oregon all night. I mean, Oregon has a good defense, but they got physical with that running game. And I think they're going to do that against SMU, shorten the game, keep Kevin Jennings on the sideline. Kevin Jennings is a special quarterback. I mean, he is lightning. Just, I don't know. He's streaky. He threw a couple of picks to start that game, but after he got settled down, he was on fire the other night. But I just think that Penn State's just too physical for him.
And the one thing about Jennings, right?
I
was going to say, is that he spreads the ball around. I mean, there's not a receiver that really was sticking out when you look at the stats and everything like that. Not a receiver that he really just goes to. And he's that typical dual threat quarterback where, he can either hand it off to Smith in the backfield, who is a legitly really good running back. I mean, the first thing that jumped out to me when I was watching the Clemson SMU game, because we're in South Carolina, we don't see anything but Gamecocks, Bulldogs, and Tigers. We was the speed that SMU has on their offense. I mean, it was very impressive. It was like watching Indy cars.
Yeah, they're a very fast break offense, and Rhett Lashley has done a great job with them. It seems like they're just a really tight group and a great story. But I think it'll end here just like for Indiana, first round.
All right. So we'll go ahead and just touch up into the second round a little bit. You remember who all you picked?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So I'm just going to put a mark on the ones that I chose. So I went with Texas, who will be going up against probably one of the more surprising teams this year, ASU. These guys kind of came out of nowhere, and they just built momentum. The only thing about it that a lot of people are really down on them about is the fact that they're coming out of the Big 12. And I mean, that
they're doo-doo this year, that conference.
It's kind of like not exactly the Big East from the back in the 90s and early 2000s when Miami was it. And so, I mean, it is a doo-doo conference, but they turned it around really fast. I mean, they got an awesome receiver. I think his last name's Taylor.
Yeah.
And he, I mean, 1,500 yards, which is nothing to scoff at if you're a receiver, and just an amazing player.
Sam Levitt's been great at quarterback. I mean, they're just loaded down with transfers. Just about the whole start lineup is transfers. So it's kind of a Florida State Ole Miss approach that they took.
Except for an even bigger party school. So
are they still the number one party school? I know they always were.
It usually goes between Arizona State and Florida.
Yeah,
I think UCF snuck in there one year too, but
yeah, Central Florida, they deserve a little credit too, but Arizona State has always had that title since I could remember.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the school that had Gronk. I mean, that's right. The biggest party animal there is. So what are you thinking? Arizona State, Texas?
I'm going with Texas. I think Texas is probably the most talented team of all these teams. But Ewers just for the second time just laid an egg against Georgia. So I'm really down on him. I know he's supposed to be a elite NFL prospect, blah, blah, blah. But, man, I don't know. He just has not instilled a lot of confidence lately against really good teams. But I think a Big 12 team like Arizona State, he'll be fine. Just spread around those playmakers. I love the receivers. Bond, who Alabama used to have, terrific. And I love those two running backs. So, yeah, I don't think they'll have a problem here. But if they match up with Georgia again, they better watch out.
Well, and when I was doing, I'll share that with you in a little bit. But I like that. I think it's going to be Texas too. So for the next game, Boise State, incredible offense. If you have not watched them, Gentry, of course, almost, not quite. But he almost got there. He almost got Barry.
It was close.
Over 2,400 yards rushing this season.
Jeez. Yeah, that many?
Yeah, that many. Lord. The thing is that Barry's record is over 2,600 yards.
Jeez.
I mean, if he had another game, he probably would have got it.
Crazy.
But
3 yards away from 2,500. That's just insane.
Yeah. It's unreal.
I know I'm drafting in fantasy next year.
It depends on what team he goes to.
That's true.
So Boise State, let me think about this. If Boise State was to play, I needed to have like the thing up on there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to go back to the bracket.
Yeah. What's the bracket saying?
Let me go back. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. I think y'all would be playing. They would be playing Tennessee.
Tennessee and the Tennessee Ohio State winner plays Oregon.
Okay.
So I wish we played Boise State. So Boise State would play the SMU Penn State winner. So we both picked Penn State.
So it'd be Penn State against Boise State. States. Yep. Who you got?
I feel pretty much the same way as I do with Penn State against SMU. I just think they'll be way too physical, too big. Penn State, they're not flashy, but they have that blue collar mentality, and I think they'll just impose their will on Boise State. I still think Genty will have a good game, but he's about to see a defense that is so mumuch better than what he's faced this year. They did play Oregon. I'm trying to remember how many yards he had against Oregon, but he didn't have a blow up type game.
No, he didn't. He had an average game.
Yeah. So I just think if you shut him down, then Boise State's going to be in trouble. And yeah, I got Penn State probably winning by like 10 points in the.
They might win more by more than that. I do like their quarterback too, Maddox. He doesn't really get much play because of the fact of what an awesome season that Gentry had. But
Yeah, he's been solid.
He's going to be legit. Hey, what's up, Waffles? You just wake up, buddy. So next on the slide, it's going to be number 2 Georgia, and in this case, I had them playing the winner of the Notre Dame Indiana game. If I'm reading this correctly. So let's just be 100% honest. There is no way in hell that Notre Dame's going to beat Georgia.
No, I'm assuming Beck's not playing with that injury, but I still don't think they have a chance against Georgia.
No, I mean, in all honesty, I think that Georgia actually looked better with Gunnar Stockton. I mean, the one thing about Carson Bett, and this is every single game, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Slow start every damn game, and that's been the one bugaboo that they've had since he's been there. Is that they just start off slow. And Gunnar Stockton, I'm not saying he is like leaps and bounds better than Carson Beck, but he's not. There was no drop off in my eyes.
Well, my one question would be, after having about 3, maybe even 4 weeks to look at film, will a defense be a lot more ready for Gunnar than Texas, since they had to adjust over halftime, during halftime. So it seemed like when he came in, he did have some success, but then down the stretch in the fourth quarter, they kind of figured it out, kind of adjusted. So with Notre Dame having a great defense, will 3 weeks be enough time for them to be ready for that? You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
no, it would definitely be one of those big defensive matchups, because also at the same time, you got to think about it. Kirby Smart is arguably the best coach in college football right now. Even though Bill Belichick just started going over to UNC, which is a move that I'm a little puzzled by. We might discuss that a little bit later, but Kirby Smart, he is what it is, and you're giving him 3 weeks as well to make up a defensive line.
Oh yeah,
stop the run.
I do think Georgia will handle business in that game. I just don't think Gunnar will come out there and light it up or anything. Yeah, I think it'll be a defensive game, but yeah, Georgia will win that one.
Okay. So the last game will be Oregon, and in your case, my case, it'd be Tennessee. In your case, it'd be Ohio State. And then I got a question for you after that game. What are you thinking?
So, assuming it's Ohio State, it'll be a rematch of a great game we had, a month and a half ago? Maybe it's been 2 months now. But I think it'll be an exciting game. You got playmakers everywhere. Oregon, their defense got gashed the other night, but that offense was just unreal. Gabriel is just so quick getting rid of the ball. I don't really know who to compare him to, but he's just in that offense, super efficient. And I just love the running back. Is it James?
Yes.
I think Jordan James. Gosh. He's been so good. And then the receiver, with is it Ty Johnson? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting names, but the guy is just lightning in a bottle. He's so explosive. So, yeah, I think that'll be a really, really close game. If I'm going to be honest, I think I would take Ohio State in that game, though. And that might be kind of surprising, but
you definitely caught my attention.
I know I said last week I was picking Texas against Georgia because I think it's really hard to beat an uber talented team twice in one season. But I think that'll actually happen this time. I think Ohio State will get the best of them. I think Oregon's just been lucky in a couple games, even though they've had a great season. I just think they're due for a loss.
Yeah, Tez Johnson, this guy you're talking about, 78 receptions.
Sorry, I said Ty Johnson.
Yeah, so no, I finally pulled up that part of the equation. No, that's a good pickup. Now, question for you is, you got him going on to the third round. If Ryan Day does not make it to the national championship game, do you think he's out at Ohio State?
Man, I don't think he'll be out, but let's say they win. Let's say they lose the first round, then I could see that happening. But it's like, who are you hiring? If you're getting rid of Ryan Day, is there somebody that's on the radar right now that would definitely be better than him?
Not off the top of my head. Unless you get, I don't know, like
Nick Saban coming back.
Yeah, Nick Saban or Cliff, someone from the NFL coming back. Me personally, and I talked to someone about this. Yes, I understand he has a losing record against Michigan. I know you want to beat him. But also at the same time, he's only lost one game against anyone else in the Big Ten. And, you can contribute it to the fact that, he's done a really good job recruiting. For the most part, the transfer portal, he's pretty much owned it. But the only real spur that he has on his whole giddy up is Michigan. And this was supposed to be the year that they were going to actually take it over, beat Michigan this year because they didn't have Jim Harbaugh. They're just kind of running out of excuses for the fact that he can't beat Michigan.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we talked about this enough last week, but just looking back at that game, Ohio State lost to a team whose quarterback had 62 yards passing and 2 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. I don't even know how that's possible. But Will Howard was almost as bad. He had 2 interceptions himself.
He was like, hold my beer.
Yeah. But, man, I don't even know how you can do that.
Yeah.
It's unreal. But I just think Ohio State is going to, I said they can go one of 2 ways. They can either kind of be already done and leave them for the NFL, or they can just unite over that defeat. And for whatever reason, I'm not a Ron Day fan. I just feel like they're going to play their best ball these next couple games.
I like it. So before the semifinal matchup, I have Oregon versus.
That's a big reveal.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's Georgia against Penn State. I'm just trying to remember.
Texas, right?
Oregon, yeah, to be Oregon, Texas. So I like Oregon. I like Dylan Gabriel. He's come through in the clutch, but I just don't think that they're going to do it against Texas. So I actually picked Texas on this one.
Oh, I mean, I could see that. I think Texas is still more talented than Oregon. I mean, they'll have to get better play out of Quinn Ewers, but I think it's time to slide Arch in there a little bit more, give him some more playing time. I just like the dual threat, ability that he has, and I think that would have worked well against Georgia. I don't know why they didn't do it, but yeah, I could see Texas easily winning that game. I mean, that would be a toss-up to me, Oregon, Texas. So I've got Ohio State playing Texas, and once again, I think that's a toss-up. I don't know why I'm on the Ohio State train. I guess because they spent $20 million on transfers, but I'll just take Ohio State just because
I'm waiting for you to go OHIO over there.
I'm just down on Quinn Ewers, man. I don't know. They talk about how great he is, and Sarkisian's this offensive genius.
Well, he definitely hasn't had the year that he had last year, where he was just curb stomping everyone but Oklahoma. Yeah. So,
where's the Quinn Ewers we saw? Was it last year against Alabama?
Yeah, God knows.
Where's that guy?
That was a nightmare.
Jeez.
So, all right. So the last game that I have before the actual natty would be Georgia against Penn State. I went with Georgia. It's just talent level at this point. And it's not being an SEC homer. It's not being anything like that. It's just being an honest football fan who also coached and watched the game. So the talent level is just so much higher in Georgia. I mean, besides, the fact that who recruits better than Ryan Day? If there is somebody, it's Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, when it comes to talent, Georgia is, I think it's them, Texas, maybe Ohio State, but Ohio State's a lot of it is due to transfers. That is going to be really tough playing Notre Dame and then Penn State, just 2 really physical, great defenses. But I kind of agree with you. I think Georgia's just a little too talented for Penn State. And what is James Franklin, like 1 in 100 versus top 5 teams or something? So give me Georgia. I hate it, but at least they have an SEC team in the championship, hopefully.
In my case, they have 2.
Wow.
So,
not a third round.
No, a third round, Texas versus Georgia. But this time, I think Texas actually takes it.
My God. Can you imagine if they lost 3 times to the same team? Has that ever been done? Ever?
I know in the NFL it has.
Oh, sure. But
I mean, that's when, the Jacksonville Jaguars, remember when they lost 3 times to the Tennessee Titans?
That's right.
And then Eddie George and Steve McNair. That was the tackled by 1 yard away from the end zone Super Bowl. But
I just can't imagine the meltdown if Texas lost to them a third time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are 20 minutes away from the border of Georgia and South Carolina. So we would definitely be at ground zero if that happened.
Yeah.
We're talking nuclear.
I think Matthew McConaughey might just slit his wrist on the sideline.
Oh my God. He is like, my life is complete. Slice. So Yeah, that's our reaction. I'm actually going to be in a college football pick'em for $20. So yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So
That sounds fun.
yeah. No, I'm probably not going to exactly pick it like this, but it depends. So it's going to be all 42 games.
Oh wow,
That's going to be a lot.
That's a lot of games.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to study up on all of them.
I think sometimes you're just better off not studying up on them.
Yeah, just go with the heart.
Yeah,
you know,
just gut feel.
So we don't normally talk about baseball. It's just a sport that we don't really watch on TV that much. But I mean, it's kind of hard not to see the richest contract in sports history and not want to talk about it. Juan Soto's 15 years, $765 million. If you watched all the TikToks and all the YouTube shorts and everything, Yankees fans really love this guy right now. It's just unreal. I've seen death threats. I've seen cars being told every car you go will go to a chop shop. It is just unreal. And when you really break it down, this is a really impressive contract. First off, doesn't contain no deferred money like what Otana's record-breaking contract was last year. So he's going to get, after all the taxes and everything, $461 million. I mean, that's basically FU money at that point. He also has an option to opt out after 5 years. But the Mets also have an override clause. Now get this, that will pay him an additional $4 million per year on top for the last 10 years. So how his contract is right now, he would actually make $805 million on this contract. And this is also a $75 million signing bonus. I mean, one question I have to ask. He also gets the number 22. It's his. You might as well just sell it to him, trademark it. What do you think about this contract, and what does it mean for the Major League Baseball?
Man, you know my thoughts on baseball. This is a big reason I've lost a lot of interest in baseball. It's just monopoly money. I don't know how the third most popular sport continues to pay these guys this kind of money. I mean, obviously it's there, but the Mets, I'm not shocked. This is the same team that's still paying Bobby Bonilla until 2035.
Yeah.
Bobby Bonilla, who hasn't played in what feels like 25 years.
It feels like that.
So, it's not that shocking, but just when you see $700+ million, it just boggles the mind, comparing it to football players who risk their bodies, much more than baseball players. I don't know. Juan Soto, I know a little bit about him. I know he's a great player, but he's only been with the Yankees 1 year.
Yeah.
It's not like he's homegrown, like Freddie Freeman leaving the Braves. That to me felt more like one of those moments.
Watching your son walk out the door and going off to war.
I mean, you're the Yankees. You're going to sign somebody else's stud.
Which they did.
Yeah. I mean, they took Freed from the Braves. So I don't really care for the uproar from the Yankees. It's just sour milk. But seeing guys like this, I mean, I'm not going to, fault the guy. It's like, what is it? Don't hate the player, hate the game. But it's just ridiculous to me. He's had a good career. You looking back at his Padre days and his national days, he's had a good career. It may be great, but he's not Ohtani, like a generational, just possibly, greatest player ever type talent. So I don't know. It's just another reason that I'm not a big fan of baseball anymore. But you know what? Congratulations to the Mets. They're going to be that much better in the NL East next year and make it tougher on my Braves. So
yeah. And I mean, of course, a lot of salt is being thrown out about this because I also saw like where it showed like his fielding. He's like me in softball. He's not catching anything. And it sounds like he's going to be more of a designated bat type deal. Maybe they'll do like what they did with Mike Piazza.
That's even more ridiculous if he's a designated bat.
So,
jeez.
There's a couple questions I could actually ask you about this. One is, you think that a contract like this, I brought this up on Twitter, should the MLB possibly look at the possibility of having a salary cap where it not only keeps contracts like this from happening, but also the teams that are like your smaller markets and everything, they have to spend a certain amount. You think that a salary cap would really help out baseball at this point?
I would love it. I mean, I know the big market teams wouldn't love it, but I think for the health of the league overall, it would be a great thing. It's just like the same teams every year. You have blips here and there, like Moneyball with the A's. I think the Braves do a pretty solid job with a limited, salary cap.
The Guardians a couple of years ago. I mean, the guys from
there's
Cleveland, Twins, you'll see them every once in a while.
Yep. So there's a few here and there, but for the most part, like basketball, it's pretty much the same teams over and over. I don't know. I mean, it would be a good thing, but I don't see it happening. It just seems like it would have happened by now. My question is, where is it going next? The first $1 billion player coming up in a couple years?
And what's crazy is you said that, and I remember hearing that on Dan Patrick earlier this week when he brought that up. It's just unreal. I mean, they were talking about that with Ohtani last year, and if he gets his up to $800 million, I'm still not used to hearing that. I mean, for instance, when I was in my 20s, early 20s, you too, that's when Alex Rodriguez got his $2.52 million contract from the Texas Rangers, and he made more than the Texas Rangers. Now, what I did not know is it actually increased the value of that team from $250 million to $600 million. So if anything, the amount of money that they give to these these players actually increases the value of that team. So, I mean, the Mets are the most expensive team, even though they're not the best team.
Yeah. It just has to be, deflating to other teams' fans. When you look at the Dodgers, who just won the World Series, and immediately, I can't remember the guy's name, but he just signed a huge free agent as soon as free agency opened up. It's like,
well, the Dodgers did.
Yeah, well, it's like, what else do you need? You have an all-star at literally
blood
every
of the
position.
Firstborn. So just to quickly clarify, that contract that I was talking about, the one that everyone was like, this will doom MLB, which it feels like it has in a way, is now the 20th richest contract ever handed out to a baseball player.
And that was 200 something million,
252 million over 10 years.
That feels like it was yesterday. I do remember just everyone being just totally
floored,
shocked by that.
So,
yeah, let's get off of baseball.
So let me see if I can find. Nope, that's not it. Nope. And now I know which one it is.
The last one.
Yep. So here it is, folks. This is going to be actually a 6-pack that covers all the sports in pretty much any way. So besides hockey, which one day maybe we'll do a little hockey. But the first one. Dude, if you were Sam Darnold, would you resign with the Minnesota Vikings at the end of the year?
I'm looking at it from a Vikings perspective. I mean, I think Darnold would love to resign with them, but I'm the Vikings. I would only offer him like a 2 or 3 year deal at the most. I think he's shown up this year to warrant, really good money for a short-term contract. But 1 year of really good play, I don't think you should be signing this guy to a long, like 5 or 6 year contract, especially when you have JJ McCarthy coming back next year, coming back from the injury, and you don't want him sitting on the sideline for 4 or 5 years watching, Sam Darnold, who is already 30, early 30s?
27.
Oh, is that all? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, it feels like he's been there forever, but no, he's only 27.
Yeah. I mean, I think we saw a little bit of JJ in preseason, and he looked pretty good. I know it's just preseason, but if you can find a young quarterback, a talented young quarterback, kind of like Purdy, on a rookie contract, and they're not tying up a lot of money in that salary cap, I think that's your best bet to surround them with just great talent. And the Vikings already have a good bit of talent, but I just think Darnold is a great insurance policy, in case JJ is not ready. So I would resign him to a couple years, maybe 3 years at the most. But
basically, as soon as JJ's ready, just go ahead and be done.
I mean, I think JJ is going to be a good quarterback. And Darnold, who knows if he can repeat this? I mean, I've been really impressed with him, but it's 1 year versus how many 5 or 6 bad years he had.
Well, you also got to look at the fact that, you look at the franchises he was with. I mean, it was Carolina Panthers and New York Jets, and he had like one season with the San Francisco 49ers, who have a offensive core that is very similar to Minnesota. And, you know, I agree with you. If I was Sam Darnold, I would resign too, but maybe for 2 years, get you about $20-25 million. Say, look, you know, you see what I can do with a decent cast around me. In fact, let's be real, probably the best receiving duel in the game right now with Addison and Jefferson.
Yeah, they've been really good.
Get 20-25 million. Have that team, you know, you have a chance to win something. You know, good thing about them next year is, you know, they'll have 78.6 million in cap space. Yeah. So they're going to be a big player, and they're losing only 4 players that really has done anything for them. They're going to be, you know, Aaron Jones, his contract will be up. So will be Brian Murphy and Stephen Gilmore, you know, so they're going to have the money there. And like you said, I mean, give him time to develop, do like the whole Packers thing does. I mean, shit, they've been beating us for
on the job training.
Yeah. Just let him sit there, let him soak it in. And, you know, he, like you said, he's talented. That one game, he blew me away. Like, I didn't expect him to do crap, but no, he did really well. And, you know, if, like you said, if I was the Vikings, I'd keep him on for another couple of years. And if I was Sam Darnold, I definitely would stay.
Yeah. I think we're in agreement.
Yep. Number 2. Will the Raiders move on from Antonio Pierce after this season? I just realized I misspelled Pierce, but it's okay.
Yeah, I think we get it. So, you know, we talked about this, was a couple weeks ago. You know, just the promoting the guy that's the, I don't know, the players coach type guy.
Yeah.
You know, that just usually will work.
In-house guy.
Yeah, it usually will work like in half a season, or, you know, like down the stretch last year, how they played really hard for him. This year's just been an absolute disaster. You know, it just, what are they, 2-11 right now? 2-11, going into week 15. I don't think anybody expected great things of the Raiders this year, but 2-11, I did not see that coming. You know, what was it, 4 games to go? That's a bad job. I think when they got left out of the quarterback sweepstakes back in the draft, that doomed them. Kind of a death knell. The Falcons, you know, kind of made a crazy move, jumped up and got Penix, and that left them with pretty much nobody. I think Bo Nix got drafted before they picked also. Is that right? All 6 quarterbacks drafted before their pick. So when you're expecting one to drop down that low. Yeah, when you're stuck with 2 career backup type players like Minshew and O'Donnell, I just think you don't have a chance. You know, it's just difficult, especially when the AFC West has been so much better than we thought it would be. Then you had Devontae Adams kind of forcing their hand with that trade to the Jets. And then Josh Jacobs leaving last year left a huge, huge hole. I don't think people thought it would be that devastating, but Zamir White has just been a ghost this year. So that was a bad loss. I think it's just time for a clean slate. And I know it would be crazy and it probably won't happen, but I would consider bringing John Gruden back. I don't know if enough time has passed. I think Gruden is a great fit for that type of team. I know he says some things, you know, that probably wish he could take back, but I just thought he kind of got a raw deal personally.
Oh, he gave himself the raw deal. I mean,
how many guys have said stupid stuff, you know?
Well, we all say stupid stuff, but we don't send the emails about it. I mean, and it's not documented.
I think either way, it's time for a clean slate for them.
No, I agree. And I mean, there's a lot of sexy options out there with the whole coaching tree and everything. You got Ben Johnson, you got Aaron Glenn from Detroit, you got Deion Sanders, who even shouted praises about Pierce on Twitter and everything like that. You also got Mike Vrabel that's still swimming around. Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, there's
not Kingsbury.
Oh, you know, someone's going to give him a shot. If there's a team that gives a has-been coach a second shot, it'll be the Raiders. Hello, Josh McDaniels.
I just think Kingsbury is a career offensive coordinator. I don't think he belongs head man anywhere in the NFL, maybe college, but not NFL.
He's a younger Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, that's it is what it is. He's made by his quarterback. But Antonio Pierce, you know, like we just talked about, the honeymoon stage is over. Yeah, they went 5-4 last year. They had They had that one great win against the Chiefs last year where they, fought it out and, made an actual late season push to it. And, there's stuff that I'm hearing where there's like, man, we want to run it back with Aiden O'Connell. What? Are you having a little bit too much fun in Las Vegas? Are you out in the desert too wild?
Run what back? I mean, they want to go 1-12? I mean,
yeah, let's show them. If they thought we sucked this year, let's show them how bad we can suck next year. So, but also they've been having some injuries. Gardner Minshew and of course Aiden O'Connell got hurt. Kristen Wilkins, who was their big splash free agent this past season, he's been out since October and only has 2 sacks. So I mean, Max Crosby is not playing out of his mind like he was last year. They're beat up. And what's funny about this is that Mark Davis wants to give new minority owner Tom Brady a little bit more decision or more of a role in actually hiring next time. And even though he has said that this team has stayed competitive at 2-11, he said he wants to give Antonio Pierce a fair shake. Don't. I'm sorry. I like Pierce and I liked him as a player. I liked him last year as a coach, but I mean, this is the exact opposite direction of what you want your team to go.
Yeah, there's no way I would give him another shot. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where the division has gotten so good. You can't continue to flounder like this. You got to go out and get your quarterback in this next draft, which I'm sure they will. But you got to make a lot of moves because they're just struggling for playmakers. Luckily the silver lining is you got Bowers in the draft last year, and Bowers looks like a generational tight end. But you got to surround whoever the quarterback's going to be with a better running back and some better receivers. I mean, right now you got Myers out there as the only decent target, so
yeah,
they got some work to do.
So if let's say you're the Raiders, and the way that it would look like is that the Giants would actually get the first pick in what I actually read the other day. Who would you rather have fall to you? Would you rather have Shadir Sanders fall to you or Cam Ward?
I think I would rather Cam Ward fall. Sanders has a really good arm, and I think he's talented, but I also think he'll be somewhat of a head case. I wouldn't want to deal with that, especially in Las Vegas. You talk about a place with a lot of distractions. So I think I would prefer Cam Ward.
No, I went with Cam Ward too because he just reminds me of Cam Newton so much. And, but Shadir Sanders, one thing I can say is that because of who his dad is, he probably knows how to stay away from those distractions. At least I would hope. So,
yeah, but wait till he gets,
by himself,
tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah,
in his account.
Cocaine and hookers. So next one up, and this is one that we kind of brushed on before a little bit, but should the 76ers part way with Joel Embiid?
I think so. I mean, I think he's hit his peak, and I think it'll be maybe not a steep decline, but I think it'll be a gradual decline, here on out. Seems like he's always injured. It just seems like this team is not going to be good enough with him or without him. They're not going to be good enough to top the Celtics, some of these elite teams. I just think if you can still get something for him right now, I think this is the time to do it. But, I don't know if that'll happen.
Well, I mean, he was the MVP in 2023. I mean, it feels like it was 5 years ago when he won it.
Yeah.
Even though it was just last year or 2 years ago.
It's not a matter of talent. I mean, the guy's
he has talent, but that knee. I mean, we already knew that he had knee problems before he got drafted, and they still drafted him. And I mean, so far in 22 games this year, he's played in 5. And, whenever they ask him about how's your knee doing and everything, he's like, it's depressing. It's just, I love the guy. I love his talent. I love his, his swagger and everything like that. But, it's not exactly what happened with them with James Harden last year, but, you got Tyrese Maxey, who has been your leader now.
Yeah.
And you got Paul George. And
it's an old team.
Yeah. I mean, outside of Maxey, you can go ahead and start gutting because the window has not been any more closed. I mean, they're screwing down. They're nailing it down at this point. So,
They're putting the hurricane shutters on.
Yeah, seal it up. We're done. You know.
I mean, you got the Cavs at 21-4, the Celtics at 19-5, and 76ers way down at the 12 seed right now at 7-15. I mean, I don't know how many teams would be willing to take a chance on him at this point, but if you can get some picks and maybe a young talent in return, I'll be all in for that.
They would be able to get some picks. They'll get something for him. I mean, he still has talent and he's still great. But
what is a team that you could see taking that chance? You know,
the Lakers,
a contender. Oh God.
You can see it too after I said it.
But I mean, what do Lakers have that we want? I mean, it seems like the Lakers have traded all their first round picks.
I was going to say a team I could see doing it would probably be someone like Atlanta. You know, someone that, you know, they want to get
some young assets.
Yeah, some young assets. Not necessarily get the young assets, maybe one or two of them, but I mean, you're not going to get Trae Young out of it. They're going to keep Trae Young. I mean, if Minnesota can sit there and trade Karl Anthony Towns to the New York Knicks, I mean, why wouldn't another team try to take that shot? I mean, look at Miami. They're talking about sending Jimmy Butler somewhere now.
Yeah, that's kind of shocking. But I mean, Butler's getting up there too. You know, like if you can get something for him now, then, you know, go pull the trigger because they're not good enough to beat the Cavs or the Celtics. So I don't know. I just hate, you know, being stuck kind of in that middle. You know, it's like I either want to rebuild or, you know, if you're obviously have a chance to win the title, then go for it. You know, go all in. If you can add one more piece and win the title, then yeah, I like it. But
yeah.
I mean, I think it'll be interesting if one of these bigger teams takes a chance on him. I'd like to see that, you know, give him a chance at a title because I don't think he's going to get it with the Sixers.
Yeah. The only other team I could think of that would actually give him a shot. I don't know many more years does he have on his contract, but maybe like a team like Milwaukee or something that just needs someone to be serviceable.
What about the Mavs? They have a center. They have a good center.
Mavs would actually be a good spot for him.
Yeah.
So, all right. So going on to number 4, I realized I didn't touch that last time. So the Tyson Paul matchup, everyone was talking about this now. It's cooled off since in the last 3 weeks, and everyone knows about how much money that they made and everything like that. It was the most streamed sporting event in history. 108 million households watched this.
Yeah.
And, you know, there has been some allegations that's been fixed. You know, Netflix has been sued by a man in Florida. Tyson has said, you know, he doesn't really remember the fight all that much. That is called concussions, folks. Paul Tyson, I mean, me personally, the card was really good. It actually opened us up to actually watch other boxers. Like, for instance, the fight between
the two women.
I'm trying to think. Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano was that one amazing. It was in fact, all the other fights were amazing. I enjoyed the card all the way up until Tyson Paul. You know, the first
fest.
it was, oh my God, it was so bad. But big question is, you know, did it help boxing or did it hurt it?
I don't think it hurt it. I mean, boxing's already in a pretty bad spot. You know, just they don't have a lot of big names right now. So I don't think it hurt it. I mean, the production quality by Netflix was a little lacking. You know, it's like they couldn't get the audio figured out a couple of times, you know, with those interviews. And then the announce team, you know, you got Rosie Perez up here, you know, from White Man Can't Jump, breaking down the fight. So, you know, I mean, the ring girls were fine.
I mean, yeah,
no problem there.
Yeah,
but yeah, I didn't expect a whole lot, you know, but Tyson really, maybe that's what it was. Maybe he's concussed, but it just seemed like he wasn't there after maybe like the first couple rounds where he took some pretty good shots.
Yeah, I was going to say Paul actually popped him a couple times, but also at the same time, I mean, outside of that first round,
yeah, it drug on and on. Every round was like a repeat down the stretch, and I wasn't that impressed with Paul either. I mean, I haven't watched Paul a whole lot, and it seems like he's always fighting people that are older than him or just outclassed and not experienced. But I don't think it really hurt boxing. I'd like to see boxing make somewhat of a comeback because when we were in our teens, boxing was a big deal. You know, you had Tyson in his prime, you had Holyfield, you know, George
Oscar De La
Foreman,
Hoya,
Riddick Bowe. Yeah, I mean, they're middleweights, they were lightweights. Everyone
Roy
knew their
Jones
names.
Jr.
Yeah, there were tons of names. And now UFC is just the king. So it's like more guys, I think, are just immediately going into that, you know, at a young age. And not many people are even trying to go into boxing. So I'd like to see it make a comeback at some point, but you know, maybe this will at least get, since it got a lot of eyeballs on the sport, maybe it'll drum up some more interest in it.
And that's the only positive I could really think about it, because, you know, outside, you know, besides this fight, I mean, not many people knew who Katie Taylor or Amanda Serrano was, or, you know, Shadashi Green against Belinda Watpoy. I mean, it opened up quite a bit for women's boxing in my eyes. It really did open it up on that, because outside of I can't think of her first name, but Ali's daughter, who it begins with an L. But Layla Ali, outside of her, and I think Joe Frazier's kid, that was pretty much it. You know, those are the only two people I remember from women's boxing. And you know, you got Tyson Fury, but you know, can you name another boxer? And you can't.
There's not much out there.
So
some Klitschko's brothers or something.
Used to be. I think they're both retired now. So
I mean, that was just a bad stretch when those guys were champions.
Yeah.
It's like, golly, how far have they fallen?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it'll come back, because I used to really enjoy boxing, and it's just been a dark period.
Yeah. No, it definitely a difference from when we were growing up. So number 5. Now, of course, owner would be omitted from this, because I mean, who wouldn't want to be an owner of a sports franchise? So if you could have a sports job, what would you do?
Oh man. Well, I went with the position right below owner. I went with GM for a NFL team. So
real fantasy football.
Yeah. I mean, other than working for Arthur Blank, I think the Falcons GM position would be right up my alley.
Oh God.
I'm kind of brushing up my resume right now.
Go ahead. Do your thing, bro.
They've struggled in upper management ever since I can remember. And I'm not saying they win a Super Bowl, but I think I could do better than what they've had the last couple decades. But, you know, like all fantasy football owners, I think it's just the ability to, you know, draft your own guys, sign your own guys, make moves like that. It fascinates me, especially in a sport like pro football, where you have a strict salary cap, you know, where every team is kind of on equal footing. You know, of course, you still have advantages with some teams, but I think that's just the, I don't know, that's the most appealing thing to me. I wouldn't want to be a coach. I just feel like the pressure there is just way, way too high. You know, with the GM, you know, like, except for a few guys, most people don't even know their names, you know, so you're kind of away from that. I mean, of course, you might get fired, but, you know, it's not, you don't get criticism every single week, like the quarterback, like the coach,
the assistant coaches and stuff like that, where, you know, a play will actually end you.
But yeah, I mean, that's what I would do. I don't know about you.
Well, coaching, I mean, I've done it, but not to a professional level. But for me, I'd actually be reporting to you, because I'd be a scout. And I think it'd be really cool to actually go off and, you know, watch these games, watch these kids, young men.
They likes watching the kids. Young men run around.
Get him.
He likes the combine when they're on their underwear.
Yep, that's right. Can that shirt be a little tighter?
Now we know the truth, man.
No, but scouting has always been kind of similar to like what you get with a GM. You kind of get to know the ins and outs, you know what to look for and everything like that. That's one of the things that helps with being a coach sometimes, is if you actually watch players, and so many players become scouts before they go further into you know, front office. You know what you're looking for. And you know, I just think it'd be really cool. You know, hey, Med, go watch this offensive lineman or this defensive lineman or something. Please don't ask me to do what Eberflus did and talk about quarterback steps or anything, because I ain't gonna know that shit. But yeah, no, I think scout would be on the road every now. Well, not every now and then, all the time. But I think that'd just be, you get to go places and watch the game you love.
Yeah, and you're not under too much pressure.
Yeah,
so I like that.
I'm sitting.
I wonder what they get paid. I wonder what the average salary is for a long-time scout. I'm sure it's good money.
Well, I'll look that up while you talk about. I remember this time. Pop that open. What all-time record has lost its luster to you?
And you made me kind of do a little reading on this one because I couldn't think of something to pick. But I went with most points in NFL career. So when you think about this record, you would assume some legendary quarterback like Tom Brady would top the list. But this is a record that's just dominated by kickers. Just browsing the list, the top 5 all kickers. There's a couple that played in their mid 40s and didn't even sniff a Super Bowl. Some names like Morton Anderson, Vinatieri, guys that you've probably heard of, but just played forever, played
Gary
for like
Anderson.
25 years. The position is definitely important to any good team, but the low injury risk, and the longevity of their career is the main reason these guys are there. And, they should just have a new category for non-kickers to celebrate the guys that put their bodies on the line every week. I really don't care who has 2,000, points is for a kicker. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of meaningless to me because the next guy like Tucker will probably be at the top of the list when he retires if he plays another 5 years, although he's been struggling lately. But yeah, I was looking at the list and I think number 7, George Blanda, was the only non-kicker that I could find in like the top 20. So that was a little bit shocking to me.
So the answer to your question is
Scout.
Yep, Scout is 90 to 100,000 a year.
I could live on that.
Yeah, I think I'd survive. That's double what I make now.
No, I'd take it.
You notice he said it ain't double what.
It's pretty close.
Well, money. For me, the record that actually has lost a lot of luster is the all-time home run record. And it's a lot to do with the fact that, steroids. When you're a kid and everything, you're like, man, they're hitting the ball so damn well, and it's going out in the stands. We watched, I remember I don't really think about Barry Bonds breaking a record. I think about when Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire were going toe to toe and hitting bombs,
monster shots
everywhere. And then you look at, of course, the Balco investigation, the steroids investigation and stuff like that. And, you realize that a lot of the top 20 home run hitters was in that era. And it's littered with them. And they're all basically popped a needle in their arm at some point and injected some horse steroids into their veins. Number 1, of course, was Barry Bonds, who is on top of the list. I still thought it was Hank Aaron.
Oh, yeah.
And
I think I do remember that, but I don't know. Does that record still count, or is it kind of omitted because of the
it still counts? And it's 762. And, Alex Rodriguez, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Rafael Palmeiro, who famously said, I've never used steroids. Manny Ramirez. There are some names that I saw. The only name that I saw that then had 2 names that were in the, that had a ton was Albert Pujols, who never tested positive, and Jim Thome.
I'm surprised Thome never tested positive. He was right in that same era.
I just think he ate a lot of potatoes.
I still, think it's pretty impressive, no matter how many steroids you're doing, that you can hit major league pitching like that far. Like it's just one of those things where I played baseball a lot in high school, and I went up against a couple guys that went on to play college, and it's so difficult to hit a baseball. When it's coming at you 90 miles per hour, when guys can throw curveballs, change ups,
that can kill you.
It's just brutal. It's really, really difficult. And the fact these guys did that, super impressive, even with the steroid use. But I see what you're saying. It definitely muddies the waters, and it kind of distorts, what that hierarchy should be at the top.
And you actually got a comment, man. The guy, JB, he agrees with you. He agrees with you and says still have to hit the ball right to have a chance for a home run.
Man, it's just so difficult. We've seen guys try to go over, Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, even Tim Tebow to some degree, Michael Jordan. It's just so hard to hit a freaking baseball.
Well, it is. I think it was rated as the number 1 hardest thing to do in sports altogether.
I can see it.
100 mile. I think the exact words was hitting a 100-mile fastball. I can't even hit an 88-mile or 70-mile ball for that matter.
Man, I mean, I play some adult softball a little bit, and I can't even get close to getting that thing to the fence anymore, and that's against underhand pitching. So
grapefruits.
Yeah, I see what you're saying with the record, but at the same time, that was the most entertaining time in baseball to me when you had Sosa and McGuire going at it.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Bonds, obviously, the home run chase with Bonds. At that time, when you were living in it, baseball was on top of the world.
But the late 90s.
Yeah, man.
Chicks dig the long ball. I still remember the commercials where it had like the pitchers sitting there and they're trying to hit home runs and everything like that. No, it's not that lost it for me. It's the fact that I know that, that it's just so riddled with steroids, and it's always going to be that way. Everyone's always going to think about it. I mean, there's players that,
is Aaron Judge, has he been tested?
Well, I don't think they can do it anymore. I mean,
that guy looks like a beast.
Him. Yeah, no, they blast it. Oh, wait, got another one. Ripken saved baseball at the time, breaking. Yeah, no, I agree with that. The Iron Horse's record, Gehrig streak. No, that's. Oh, I remember watching that too.
I love Ripken.
Yeah, Carl Ripken Jr. was amazing.
Yeah, he was kind of like at, I guess,
Griffey
the
was
end
my
of his
favorite.
run. Oh God, Griffey, don't get me started on him. I love some King Griffey.
I remember trying to do his swing, and I just could not. No one could replicate.
Beautiful swing.
I mean, it was like poetry in motion.
Yeah, it was never beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. And I don't care what anybody says. He didn't use steroids.
No.
And if you tell me he did, I'm just going to deny.
Yeah, no, I definitely would. He was by far. In fact, I still to this day want to have a King Griffey jersey. I mean, I just loved him that much.
Always wanted that Upper Deck rookie card, and I just never could attain it.
Well, I mean, eBay's a thing.
No, that's true. Yeah.
So we're gonna do 3 quick predictions. We're getting over on time. We're over an hour already.
Oh, pause by.
Oh yeah, no, trust me, JB. Pitchers took roids too. Yeah,
John Rocker. Oh my God.
I was going to say John Rocker. I mean, he's walking out like Mr. Potato Head from the bullpen, and then you look at Roger Clemens.
Oh yeah,
the Rocket. They're like, is he the Rocket? Dude was juicing.
Yeah, I completely agree with JB. I mean, pitchers were doing it too. I mean, maybe not Greg Maddux, but there were guys that were doing steroids on both sides.
Greg Maddux was one of those, like, kind of like an everyman that just so happened to find his way on the mound.
Man, this is making me miss the old days of baseball so much.
Maybe we'll talk about that in one of our just go baseball. JB, if you want to join us, you're more than welcome. We need someone that knows more baseball than we do. Quick predictions on tonight's game: Rams versus San Francisco. Now, in my eliminator at work, I chose the Rams tonight.
I like it, man.
Yeah,
they're going to choose wisely, as they would say in Indiana Jones.
He chose wisely.
The Rams, man, they've been on fire. Last weekend killed it. That just blew me away how they took care of the Bills like that, and that's not easy to do against Josh Allen. So yeah, I like it. The 49ers played really well. They're up 3-0 right now, but I still like the Rams in this one. Puka Nacua, just absolute beast. Kupp's healthy. Williams at running back. I mean, as long as Stafford can play like he's been playing, I think they're going to get in the playoffs. And I think the 49ers just have still too many injuries to overcome, but they did play well last week.
Yeah, well, they're playing the Bears. So,
that's true, but still, they annihilated the Bears. The Bears have at least been competitive with most of their games.
Most games, not against that one. But no, I think Matthew Stafford turned back the time a little bit, it seems like, in that game. I mean, he looked like Stafford from Detroit. I think really and truthfully, this is I don't know if this is going to be a swan song, but I feel like it will be. But also
it's kind of a shame because those guys he has at receiver right now
are amazing.
Man, it'd be a shame to have to start over with a new quarterback, but yeah, I see what you're saying. He's getting up there in age.
Yeah, I think he's going to be 36. So I mean, he's going to be like another 36-year-old quarterback that we know in the NFL.
I was about to say, I know another guy that's about that age that hasn't looked too good.
No, he's kind of fell off. Next game that we were talking about doing is the Eagles in Pittsburgh.
That should be a great game. You talk about just like a black and blue, like just bloody game right there. That's going to be physical.
The Pennsylvania Bowl.
Yeah. Ooh, where's that one out? That's at Philadelphia, right?
Yep. The Vet.
I think I'll have to take the Eagles in that one. And I don't like the Eagles, but I just think the Steelers still don't have enough offensively. And I think Pickens is still questionable in that game. So I can't go against Barkley the way he's been playing.
I hope he nukes it because he got me in the playoffs in my big money league.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you make it?
So I have a slim chance to make it, but it's only like a 15% chance.
You can make it.
Tell me
I believe in you. Tell me there's a chance. No, I agree with you. I did not know about Pickens being out, but
I think it's questionable. I don't know if he's out.
You might as well say, well,
I'll check on that.
That defense has been really good. I mean, this past couple weeks and everything like that. So I just think that they're going to be solid. In fact, that hit that Cooper DeJean put on Derrick Henry really shocked me. I was like,
man, DeJean,
damn, he just lit him up.
We talked about that last week, didn't we? DeJean has been a player.
Yeah, dude.
And I mean, the other corner has been really good too. So the Eagles,
Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah, they just killed it in last year's draft.
Yeah, no, they racked it up. Them and Detroit, because Terrion Arnold and all of them, they're actually doing really well as well. Last game, and we the Bills Lions game. Now this is one that a lot of people are getting their chubby on. They're sitting there and they're really looking forward to all the points, all the things. I think that this is the game that Detroit finally loses, and just for 1 second, Motown gets back to what it was the previous 20 years. What do you think?
Yeah, I started to agree with you, but then I realized it's in Detroit instead of Buffalo, like out in the harsh conditions. I just think in Detroit, man, they're too good in there. They're so fast on that turf. I mean, I know the Bills have some talent, and obviously Josh Allen can put them on his back every single week, it seems like, except for last week. But yeah, I think the Lions are still too much. I think it'll be a really close game. But yeah, give me the Lions, unless something happens and there's crazy turnovers. But yeah, I don't know. I can't go against the Lions. I've been on that bandwagon now for it seems like 2 years.
I'm waiting for you to start wearing like an all grit shirt or something.
Yeah, I'm about to just completely abandon my Falcons and become full-time Lions fan.
Are you ever going to abandon the Tennessee Volunteers all the way and become a South Carolina fan?
I can't do it. College is just like
it's rooted in your soul.
Yeah, my blood is orange, man. But Gamecocks my second team though, as long as my daughter's there. After that, I'm done with them.
Well, she graduates after this year, right?
That's true. But she'll be in graduate school there, so
awesome. Yeah, she's going to be a physical therapist.
Yeah, hopefully. So
no, she's going to do it, man.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah,
but yeah, unless Goff has one of those games where he threw like 4 interceptions a few weeks ago, I just think it would be too much for the Bills.
I just think that Josh Allen's going to continue on with his MVP candidacy, and it's going to be like his signature game to where he just lights it up. We'll see what happens because the Detroit defense is not the same defense with Aiden Hutchinson no longer there. I know that he picked up Zadarius Smith, and they'll have him for a couple of years after this, but they're just not the same team. So
yeah, they did take a little step back on defense, but offense is just so explosive.
Oh no, it's a scary offense, and unfortunately, I have to look at it for the next 5 to 10 years. So.
Yeah. I mean, I guess tell me what besides Josh Allen playing out of his mind, what else has to happen for the Bills to win this one? Just as simple as turnovers.
It's simple as turnovers, but they got to be able to pressure Goff. If Goff has some pressure put on him, and this is attributed to the Detroit Lions offensive line, it's probably the best one in the game right now. I mean, there's no one in like hands reach of them. It kind of reminds me of like the Great Wall of Dallas when Troy Aikman was down there, and they were or Tom Brady when they always put all the draft picks that Bill Belichick did was offensive lineman or defense. I mean, they built it up to protect people, and I mean, how many times does it get hit? Not that much. I mean, I remember.
Well, when you're able to get your receivers in mid rounds like they did with St. Brown and Williams, these high picks went to the offensive line, and there's just no weaknesses.
Well, Williams was a first round pick.
I was thinking he was like second or third.
No, he was one. He was first. I want to say mid tier 1, but I mean Peter Sewell was.
Yeah, you're right. It was 22nd pick, first round.
Was he picked the same year?
Brown was a 4th round pick.
Well, I knew St. Brown was a 4th round pick, but was Sewell? I know he was a first round pick, but was he in the top like 5 or 6?
Who was that?
Peter Sewell.
Oh, yes.
Penny Sewell.
Penny Sewell. He was a first round pick. Yes. Yep. Then you had Laporta was a second round pick. I mean, they've just killed. I mean, Glasgow was a third round pick. Just killed it.
When you get a great GM, you
Decker was
a
a first round pick. They've just loaded up on offense. I mean, I think their defense is solid, but the offense carries it for them.
Oh yeah. And they did it right. They built it up in the trenches, and there you go. So that does it for us tonight. We're at an hour and 15 minutes. This has been the longest show that we've done in a long time. Usually we do a little bit better. Hopefully next week we will be a lot better.
Yeah, we'll try hard.
So hard. So anyway, this is Med. That's
Seth. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week, 7:15.
Can't accept the loss, I'm hard-headed. There's a little bit of madness to my method. Many falling off that fine line that I'm treading. I risk anything to be great, and I'm not letting nobody rob me of my victory. Number one, that's what I'm meant to be. When by any means, only thing that makes sense to me, I can make nice or make history. I got that dog in me, yeah. Turn me up, big energy, got the crowd going nuts. I got that dog in me, yeah. I take on anyone, I don't need a one-on-one. I got that dog in me, yeah. I'm talking all bite, no bark, I could rip your squad apart. I got that dog.